All right. Hello, this is Abram with the Success Podcast here. Everything that you'll learn is going to be about being successful physically, financially, emotionally. And with the guest today, we have Ed, who by 16 was already making over $4,000 a month in copywriting. Currently, you are 21?
Yep, 21.
21 right now, and only takes on 7, 8, and 9-figure companies. And he has generated well north of $12 million for his clients through his copywriting. So to say he's an expert is an understatement. But before we even get into that, I want to know the story about you as an 11-year-old boy getting into marketing.
Okay, so before we get started into that story, I do want to say, for those who don't know what copywriting is, no, it's not the little C or patent or trademark at the bottom of your website. It's advertising and sales. So everybody's heard of sales. So think about a sales message in print. That's called copy, and you're writing copy. So it's called copywriting. So that's what it is. It's, those, like when you scroll on Facebook and you see those ads, I write those. Or you see emails promoting, for example, Sephora, and, they're trying to get you to, buy their newest line of perfume. Like, that's the type of stuff that I write. So with that out of the way, when I was 11 years old, I mean, for most guys, their hero journey always starts with a girl. I mean, I think that's just kind of how it works. I was 11 years old. I was chubby. I had a bowl cut, and I was obsessed with this girl named Megan. And she had my heart for whatever reason. And I really wanted her to like me. So I looked up how to get girls to like me on Google. And when I did, I got thrown headfirst into what's called the direct response marketing industry. As a consumer, though, not as a marketer that I am now. So I was watching all these presentations. I was watching all these videos selling me these programs on how to get laid, how to get her number, how to, meet and talk to girls, and how to be more charismatic and confident. And so literally for about, I guess it was 4 or 5 years, I was reading these. And so at that point in time, all the best copywriters in the world were selling dating programs because it was very popular back then. It was like 2011. And again, like, I'm 21, but the one thing I want to note, which people for whatever reason overlook, is the fact that I was born in 2000. They hear 21, they go, okay, cool. And then they hear 2000, they go, oh my God, what was I doing when I was 21? Or no, what was I doing when I was in 2000? I mean, they do both. So I went to the local gas station. I took out, some money from my little account, and I would buy prepaid credit cards to buy these dating programs and courses to teach me how to, text girls and how to get her number, and, how to get a first date, and, ways to make her want to kiss you and stuff like that. Right. So I did that for like 5-6 years. And then eventually I got into the world of online marketing. About 15 years old, I got pulled into a pyramid scheme or network marketing, whatever you want to call it. And I was selling ionized water. I lost all my bar mitzvah money. It's about $5,000.
No.
I know, I made no sales, but I learned how to write and run my own Facebook ads, which was good. It's a blessing in disguise. That wasn't working out for me. And I met someone in person who was a mentor for 2.5 years. I worked for him extensively after that. But he basically was like, Ed, like, you're 16 and you're trying to write ads for yourself. Why don't you do it for other people and get paid to do it? And I was like, that's fucking smart. So I did. And because of that, by the time I was 16 years old, I was making about $4,500 a month, which was like more than my dad was making, I think, after a factory he'd been working at for 25 years and worked his way up to be like a manager. So I was like, that's cool. I always hated school because I was always like way smarter than everybody else. I was like, fuck this. Like, the teachers are trying to teach me how to, live life. And I'm like, you guys are teaching out of a textbook. You don't even know what the job economy is these days. How are you supposed to teach me how to get a job? Not that I wanted one. Like, I refused to go to a job, refused to get, refused to go to college, university. I tried being a gardener for one day after my parents like really like twisted my arm to try to get me to do some manual labor or get a job. One day it was like blistering hot, 7-hour shift. I was like, fuck this. I am never doing this again. And I didn't. So I worked for a company for 2.5 years and worked my way up. I quit, and then my income skyrocketed, and here I am today. And in case you're wondering, with that girl Megan, we did it for 5 days. So
there you go. Yeah. And I like how what I loved from your story is like you like glanced over the fact that you got burned in a pyramid scheme, which happens to like a lot of people, but you actually like immediately flip that in your mind to be like, well, that was good because like you found a silver lining in it. And honestly, there, if you're looking for something good, there will be something in it. Where did you develop this type of like mindset? Or I mean, you were only 16 when you had that. So where was that instilled in you? Was that something that was taught or something that you think you've always had?
yeah, it's funny because when I was 11, 12, well, I started reading self-development books when I was 11, 12 years old. Like the first book I think I ever read was a body language book. It's called What Every Body Is Saying. I think it's that one, or no, it's the Body Language Handbook. There's that one. And then the other book I read was Psycho-Cybernetics and The Richest Man in Babylon. So you can see where my head was at back then. Which, by the way, I know a lot of people who are into this genre of podcast are very heavy book readers. Read those 3 if you haven't yet. So, man, I always just wanted to do better and be better. I was very spiritual. My grandma was, she taught me a lot of what I know about spirituality and about looking for the silver lining in things. Like, I don't really believe in having life regrets, really, because I think everything that you come across is meant to teach you a lesson. I mean, I believe that life is a university, and everything that you experience is meant to teach you a lesson. And you keep having to retake the test until you learn the lesson and you get a good grade, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's the same thing. That's why people have repeat toxic cycles in relationships, because they don't learn their lessons. So it keeps happening. It's like, why does this keep happening to me? But the question should be, what lesson am I not learning?
Yeah. So right. It sounds like you've been in personal development for like ever. I mean, like, did someone give you these books, or were you just like, I think I need to work on these things logically. I should just read a book on this. Like the first book, what was the first book you read? Was the body language one?
Yeah, it was the Body Language Handbook.
And then from there, you kind of got hooked. Are you still an avid reader now, or did you stop at 3 books and that was kind of it?
So it was kind of interesting because for 3 or 4 years from like maybe like 11 until 14, 15, it was just mass consumption, but no action. And I'm sure everybody listening to this knows what that's like. So I would just consume, but I wouldn't really do much with it. These days, I read to take action. I don't read to just read unless it's for enjoyment, or it's like a topic that's super interesting to me. Like back then, I would read anything and everything. I bought all the courses, all the programs, everything. Like, man, I would spend everything I could on learning from other people, because I really value that, and it's fun for me. You know, I'm not a nonfiction reader, but fuck, will I read the hell out of a body language book, or a book called like on physiognomy, which is being able to look at people's faces and their facial structure and seeing like it's like a Chinese philosophy of, I don't know, not philosophy, but practice. Being able to look at someone's face and look at how their face is structured, and then you can tell their personality based on that. Like, lots of cool shit. But now it's just, okay, if I want to hit my next income goal, okay, well, I need to be, for example, I need to have better management of myself. Okay, cool. Well, then let's look at productivity books. Okay, cool. So then we'll take a few things from that and use it. So a lot of the mass learning was done early.
Gotcha. And then one of the things you said was like you've invested a lot in yourself. Do you have a philosophy on investing, whether it's like courses, books, anything like that? Do you have a philosophy around that? Yeah.
So it's kind of twofold. One is you only want to invest in people whose lives you trade with. That's the first thing. Like, if you want to get better at business, let's say somebody's making 7 figures, 8 figures, even just 6, or maybe just a few $1,000s a month, wherever you're at. And the person you want to learn from is maybe they're making a lot more than you, but they're miserable, their life is falling apart, and the wife divorced them, and their kids hate them because they're never there, and they're obese. Like, I wouldn't want to learn from that person, even if they're making like Bill Gates money. I wouldn't care. Mm-hmm. So like, look at every aspect of that person's life, because those habits and mentality, that all slips into other areas of their life. Yeah. And it will to yours as well. That's the first thing. The second thing is to invest in the most expensive you can afford. And even if you can't afford it, find a way.
Like you're talking about like dollar amount, like get up into that higher echelon of what you're investing in.
Yeah. As long as you know that the person's legit and not just a con artist, which is, be careful, because there's a lot of charlatans out there who will make $10,000 a month and then start saying, hey, I'll show you how to make $1 million business. And it's like, no, you don't know how to do that.
Yeah, you'd actually be a really good person to teach us on how to look out for that, because I'm sure you probably run into people that wanted to work with you, but like their whole like business is like scammy, shitty things, and you don't want to do it. Because I can already tell, like, you're not someone that'd be like, I need to take every client that comes across my desk. So how do you identify that? Like if someone is like looking to invest heavily into themselves, into like the right mentor or course, what do you look for in that person? How do you actually know like who is going to be the right person?
So there's a few things. One is look at how long they've been around for. So it's very easy on Facebook. You can go and check them out. You can see how long they've been in their industry for. You can just scroll down. And, if someone, made their profile or like change their someone change their banner from, I'll show you how to make a 6-figure business. If that's the first banner that they put up, you're thinking, okay, maybe it's possible, a little skeptical. Look at what they value. Are they always talking about the money? That's not to say money's a bad thing. I love money. Money's great, but there's more to life than that. Like, I don't talk a whole lot about money with my posts or with my brand. I prefer, like, for example, like me and my girlfriend, Hannah, we're traveling. Like, we went to Cancun for 16 days and now we're in a hotel in Arizona, a Scottsdale. But I'm not like, oh, hey, like I'm making, multiple 6 figures. Look at me. Haha. Look at this. Look at this. Look at that. So if you want to make all this money, I'll show you how to do it in like 30 days. I'm like, no, like this shit's not easy. Like it takes effort and time. If it was easy, everybody would do it. That's not to say it's not worth it, because if you're going to work hard, you may as well get rich, or wealthy at least. Right. So that's the first thing. Also, the person needs to be aligned with your values. So take a step away from the greed for a second. Take a step away from like, oh man, they've got this, they got this, they got that. It's like, cool. They have the flashy toys and cars. Most of them are dead broke. But if you look at them and you go, okay, I like their philosophical principles. Like, oh, look, this guy, is a family man, or this woman, has kids. Okay, cool. I have kids too. Right. Oh, so they're able to do this in a way that's ethical and applicable to someone like me. Right. And if they have similar interests, like ideally you want to learn from somebody who you would grab a beer with. That's really kind of the test. It's like, would I want to hang out with this person outside of work? Yeah. If the answer is no, then they're probably not a good person to learn from in the long term. I'm talking about mentorship. If you just want to buy a course because you want to get a little bit better at something, then whatever, fine. But the real impactful investments come from long-term mentorship and relationships. Like all the people who I can attribute my success to, I've been in a, quote unquote relationship with them for at least like 6 months to up to 2.5, 3 years.
So how do you get into these? Did you start out as like just paid in like mentorships, and that's how you kind of got in the door with these people? Or were you like, was it through connections? Or like if someone's watching this, how do you get the right mentor? Like, how do you even, there's so many, there's so many. So like, even like trying to sift through can be hard. And maybe the most they can afford is only like, like $3,000 or whatever it might be. It might not even be like or this is like relatively a lot of money. So how do you find these person? How did you find your mentors?
So it's funny because I met my first mentor in Vancouver. He was running an event. But I would reach out to him. So there's kind of two ways of going about it, right? You can buy access or you can earn access. That's it. That's really it. So you buy access by paying. It's like, hey, I see you're successful in business. Like, can I pay you, for your advice? Can I pay you for ongoing support and mentorship? And that's what a lot of people do with me. And that's what I've done with a lot of people as well. Like, It's both ways. So the other way is you earn access. And this usually is for like a lot of the older guys who are kind of at the point of their lives where it's like, I've made my money. Like I just want to help. But this isn't as official. It's not like official mentorship of like consistent ongoing support. This is like once in a while, which sometimes is enough, or it can lead to paid mentorship and or discounted paid mentorship as well, if they really want to see you win. So you reach out and you help solve problems for them. Yeah. You look at their website and you go, hey, like I saw that you have, like literally just, if you can, just do bitch work for them. Seriously, like, hey, like I will fucking pick up your laundry. Tell me where. Or like, hey, like I noticed you have a dog and I read in one of your emails that you don't like walking your dog. I would be more than happy to do that for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with the mentors that you've had too, it sounds like you've gone that route, and I feel like that is spot on because I've had mentors throughout my life too, and I didn't realize the impact of having like the right mentor until probably maybe, well, you're younger than me, so now it doesn't seem like that long. But when I was like, I was probably 25, 26. When I finally got like my first mentor. And one of the things I noticed, the big difference between like that free mentor where you kind of earn your way in and that paid one is the earned one can turn into a really good like long-term relationship, but it takes a lot of upfront work. I feel like that paid one, like, and I feel like you hit the nail on the head. If you could just pay to get in, like leverage whatever you need to leverage and just get in the door and get there, you can shortcut years of all that work because they already figured it out. So like the paid mentors, what's else is really good about that is you have that ability to like not only shortcut the process, but they feel like an obligation already because it's an actual type of like contractual agreement. Have you noticed anything different between having that earned one versus the paid one?
So it's kind of interesting because, and again, as long as you choose the mentor right, and it's somebody that you can learn from for a while. Sometimes these mentors are just coaches you learn from for 3-6 months and then you call it quits and like that's it. And that's okay too. There are those. The real difference is obviously the amount of effort it takes to get their help. Especially if you're somebody who has no results behind your name. Like if you're super fresh, super new, you got nothing. It's hard to impress these guys. Realistically. Unless you say, hey, like I don't know if they're business coaches or something. If you can show them that you've used their free material to get results, that's your first foot in the door. Okay, this person is serious. Sir, that's the first thing, right? But both can turn into long-term relationships. Like I have, 2 coaches / mentors right now. One of them, we're best friends now. Like I stayed at his house for a week last week with my girlfriend. Like that's not something you do with someone who you don't want to be best friends with,
Yeah.
And the other one, like I paid him good money. And then I was like, hey man, actually, you know what? I'm good for now. And then he was like, hey man, we're not done coaching. Like, don't worry about the money. Like, don't worry about it. I want to keep helping you.
That's amazing. And that just shows the impact of you not, I like to describe it, and I've heard this from someone else, but I can't remember who it is, being an ask hole. So you ask them a question and then they tell you, oh, do this, and then you don't do it. That's the best way to get people to never want to help you or talk to you again. Like it's pointless to ask for advice if you're not going to do anything with it. And one of the things I noticed inside of like your posts, your type of copy that you write a lot about like the results and what you can do for other people. It is hard for me to see things that you write. I don't think you've bragged once about like anything. And that's probably intentional, I'm assuming, or is that just because that's just the way you naturally think? Or if we could like tell the audience something, could you like tell us like something like maybe like the 3 top tips on how to like write really good copy to get your brand known and out there and successful?
Sure. And by the way, it's funny you mentioned like me not bragging enough, because Hannah literally gives me so much shit for not bragging.
Yeah.
It's funny. Like I mean, when people say that they're like, what's the word? Like modest person, you're like, yeah, whatever. But like, no, literally Hannah like has to say, hey, Ed, you need to post and tell people like you've done this for your clients. I guess I do.
Yeah.
Top 3 tips. Okay. Real easy. These are very simple. These are the foundations. One is know exactly who you're talking to. That sounds so simple. That's because it is. I don't want to go overlooked. So literally, even before this podcast with Abram, I was like, who's your audience? And I was like, okay, I want to know how I can adjust what I'm going to say to give you the most impact. Because if, let's say, because Abram, works a lot in fitness, if everybody hears a fitness person, I will tailor my content to give more fitness examples, to give more, to talk more about fitness and health, because that's what people are interested in, right? That's the first thing. Really, really know who you're talking to, like not just their demographic, but the psychographic, because psychographic is even more important because people like old school copywriting is like call out their demographic or the label, that's good. But it just gets their attention, not their interest. The new way of doing copywriting is calling out people based on their problems or desires, right? So if you can say, hey, dads over 50, do you want to lose weight? That's really, really good. But if you could say something like, do you have kids and feel like you just don't have time to lose weight? Well, I got you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That just gave me goosebumps, because I feel like the ads that I've like clicked on myself have all been things that have been like, I don't know, describe maybe like layers deeper than whatever that surface level thing is. Cause I noticed like, even when I talk about what I do in my business and like what I can help people with, there's not been a single time when I said like, you're going to be in a fitness app, you're going to get workouts, you're going to, whatever it might be. It's always like, what is the outcome? And I just tell people like, there's an outcome that you're going to end up achieving. So let me write down these 3 things though. So like the first one is know your audience. What is number 2?
Funny, because you just said it. It's focus on benefits, not features. Because here's the thing, right? If you're selling something, people don't buy the thing, they buy the thing that the thing gets you. So they don't like the classic, cliche in the marketing industry is you don't buy the steak, you buy the sizzle, right? You don't buy the feature, you buy the benefit, right? You don't buy the airplane ride because that would suck. You buy the destination, right? You buy the Hawaii, you buy the posting selfies on Instagram, making all your friends jealous that you're on vacation while they're in their shitty jobs, like that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
So sell the benefit, not the feature. Like, what's the outcome? What's the reason that people are going to buy? Because everybody, especially people who try to sell coaching, or anything really, they're focused with the thing. It's like, hey, sell me this wallet, right? By the way, pro tip, never say, are you in the market for it? That shit sucks. No. Here's the thing. You wouldn't go to your friend and say like, hey, like, are you in the market for a blank? No, you say, hey man, how's it going? Oh, cool. Let's say we're doing wallets, right? Oh, hey man, I heard you lost your wallet last week, or got stolen. Ah, shit, man. Yeah, actually, well, I heard the other day that there's this new wallet brand that just came out that actually has a GPS on it, so you never lose it again. And even if it gets stolen, you know exactly where to find it to get the police to go get it. Oh shit,
that sounds amazing.
You're not selling a tracking wallet. Sure, that's what it is, but what does it actually do for you, right? Yeah. So that's the second one. And then the third one is to be specific and tangible, right? So you can sell weight loss, or you can sell, and again, this is not necessarily going to be FDA compliant. Don't quote this. This is an example. I have to pre-frame that. Shred or melt off 10 pounds in the next 3 days using this weird Himalayan pink salt I discovered while trekking through the Mayan temples of Mexico.
Yeah.
Shit, like
it already sounds interesting. Yeah.
There's no comparison. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So the more specific, the more tangible, the more quantifiable, and you can be as better. So think about it in terms of qualitative and quantitative, right? So you want to be able to see with your eyes the result, or like be able to on a box check off yes or no. Like, did you get the result? Yes or no? That's the easiest thing. So numbers, physical attributes, right? Like shed off, 2 inches from your waist, or fit in the old jeans that you used, or you never thought you could get into, or get back to the same dress size that you were when you were in high school. There's more things that go deeper than that core promise of like, make your husband swoon over you again, make him look at you like he does the young girls at the pool, like, ouch. Like there's a lot of things, but those are specific and tangible. So those are the top 3 things to make your copy hard hitting and attention grabbing.
Yeah, I'm already interested in this. Then you just made it up. So like it already sounds like really interesting for like what you could do. So one of the things that is sticking out to me is, 1, you've invested heavily into yourself. 2, you're good at this because you've been doing it for like a decade. Like, even though you're 21, you've literally been doing this for a decade, which is already like farther ahead than most copywriters that exist. But if someone wanted to get into like, if they wanted to upgrade their skills and get into like a high paying type of lifestyle, do you think that the key is to work for yourself, like how you're doing? Do you think it's working for yourself, or do you think you could do that inside of a company too?
So it's a really good question, because it depends on the type of life that you want to live. And I used to believe that everybody should be an entrepreneur, and I still kind of believe that to an extent. But I believe now that a lot of people are better number 2s than they are number 1s.
Yeah. And it's definitely there's a lot more like risk and stuff. If you are the number 1 person, there's a lot more stress. There's a lot more like when you don't know who has to do that thing, it's going to fall on you. Like there's no, like, you have to hire it out, but you have to figure it out over and over and over. The higher up you are in a company, the more problems you get to solve that nobody else can solve. Sure. So you've been an entrepreneur, but you also, I mean, you technically work for other people as you go through this, because you're taking on clients, but it's all in like your own business. But you didn't, you didn't start out copywriting for yourself though. You kind of did copywriting yourself for the companies that you were working for, correct?
Yeah. So it's kind of funny, because when you have a high paying skill set, the lines become blurry depending on the contract you have with your clients, right? Like, I have some clients who, I'm on payroll, but it's very high payroll. And it's like, I don't have to show up to quarterly meetings. I don't have to give reports. I just send them Google Docs. Like, that's it. That's my job. I send people Google Docs with words on it. Like that's my job, a lot nicer than corporate job, if you ask me. But with the right client, you can have a cushy job without the restrictions of a cushy job. So if you're what we call an intrapreneur, which is like somebody with a more entrepreneurial spirit, but feels more comfortable in a steady, stable job. So for example, if you have a, copywriting career, you're good at copywriting, you can go into one of these companies that are making, multiple 6 or 7 figures. And then you can, charge a base retainer, which is your pay, right? But then you can also, lead projects. You can really express your creativity as much as you want. And these people are like, fucking go for it. So if you're at a job right now and you have great ideas you want to bring to the table and they get shut down, like at these smaller companies, there's more entrepreneurial online ventures, especially in the information industry, supplements, everything else like that. These people are way more open to feedback, they're way more coachable. There's not nearly as much politics, if any at all. I'm selling the opportunity right here. And you actually get to work with a client and sell a product you love, and you get to actually see the outcome of the results people get, because there's usually like tons of testimonials and client reviews and stuff like that you can see that you're really impacting these people. And instead of just sitting behind a desk and pushing buttons or like, working on spreadsheets and shit and then not feeling like you're making any impact. And if you can have a great idea and you can execute on it, you can say, hey, you know what? I want to lead this new initiative. And if it works, I want 2% of revenue that comes from it. Who the hell is going to say no to free money?
Yeah. Yeah. Those are all like, it's resonating so much with me, because even when I like worked in like corporate jobs, I made it really high in corporate jobs really quick. But it's exactly doing what you're saying, where I gave them like basically a no lose situation. There's only potential upside what I had put into it was sweat equity. So like I could bring in the performance, I could bring in like the money that was going to bring into the company. And they were always like, yes, 100%, go for it. But what I ended up experiencing is just like what you're talking about. If you want that true freedom, you can't really get that being inside of like the wrong company. So if it is a big corporate company, and maybe I already got this wrong, because when you're saying like 7, 8, 9-figure companies, are you only working with like really big brands where they have like hundreds of staff and they're really like big companies, or can these also be small teams?
So it can also really be small teams, and it's actually preferable that you work with a company with small team because they have a lean team is a well-paid team. So there's less overhead, less staff. So there's higher room for you to get paid more. So like I only work with 7, 8, 9-figure brands, some 6-figure people. But if you've got nothing on the table, if you're not, experienced, working with, I would say at least 6 figures a year minimum. Because if they're making, because you got to think about it from the business owner perspective, right? If they're making 10K a month, right? That's like, let's just say that's like entry level 6 figures, right? Or 8.3, but let's just say 10 for simplicity's sake. If they're running ads, okay, let's say they're spending 2K a month on ads, right? That's one thing. And then, they have software, they have other employees and stuff, they have VAs. Okay, that's like 1 or 2K a month. Taxes.
Another 30% off right off the bat.
Yeah. And then, so at that point, it's like, what's there left for you after they try and pay themselves? So I definitely recommend working with like, to at least get paid what you're worth, like, let's say even 2, 3K a month, work with somebody making 20, 30K a month in revenue.
How do you determine how much you're worth? How would you say, like, how did you determine like, hey, I am worth this much? How do you even go to the table and be like, this is what it is? Or do you only do like performance based, like you're talking about, I want 2% of everything that comes in, or how do you structure it?
So here's the funny thing. Performance is a very much double-edged sword, because a lot of people who are gung-ho about performance usually don't have the money to pay you. Or and so this is disclaimer, sometimes this is a good thing. Yeah. If a company goes, oh, we're looking for someone to grow with us, that means they're not paying you shit up front. Like, you're getting like, they're either going to try and give you full percent, which if you're a salesperson, sales rep, closer, setter, whatever, fine. That's kind of industry standard-ish, right? But if you're, trying to be like a support staff or like a copywriter or on the marketing team, that should not fly. Unless they're like big and like they're known for doing that. So I would say like just do flat fee for now, or retainer work, which is like you get paid every month. So to know your worth, it's kind of tricky, especially when you're starting. But the best thing to know is it's not about what you think you're worth. It's about what results you think you can get them. If you can make a company $10,000 a month, do you think you'd have any problem charging $1,000 a month? Or even 2?
That's perfect. I mean, that's exactly what I do with like, like I have a health and fitness business. I can sell it for $3,600 because I'm not selling like a workout program. I'm selling them that ability to take what I teach them, maintain that weight loss for the rest of their life. Like if you put a dollar amount on the rest of their life, it'd be like pennies on the day. But as long as you can make that come across. So one of the things I also want to circle back to is it sounds like you've developed the lifestyle that you want, but you also seem to be really successful in working. You don't just get to this point if you are not someone that is afraid of work. So what is the lifestyle that you decided that you wanted for yourself? How do you keep that balance of having that lifestyle and not just working like all day, every day? Or maybe you do. I don't know. You tell me.
It's funny you ask, because I personally like to work in pendulums, which is like, sometimes it's like no work and sometimes it's all work. I know myself. I know that I have an addictive personality. I know I'm a very all or nothing kind of person. But some people are more like but I'm still relatively paced. Some people want everything, right? So I spent 5 years where it was all fucking work. Like in high school, I would stay up till 2, 3, 4 a.m. every single day working, on top of schoolwork, on top of playing jazz, like the trumpet in the jazz band, on top of being part of the school play, on top of being part of the school choir, which was the second best high school choir in Canada, on top of like competitive breakdancing and tap dancing, and then you're graduating with an 89% average in high school. Like, I was working when I wasn't doing all those things. But my social life really suffered. I never went to parties. I didn't really have a whole lot of friends. I would just go home and work. And in school, people would, tease me and make fun of me and be like, haha, you're an entrepreneur, and like try to make fun of me, like, oh, you're too young, like you don't know shit, like you're so stupid, go get a job, or like no one likes you, all other shit. So there is sacrifices to that with that. I know it's a bit off topic, but it is relevant. So for 5 years I sacrificed, and then I worked for a company that, I'm not going to say stuff, but basically I worked 100 to 120 hours a week for 2.5 years.
Wait, how old were you at this time?
17, 18.
Oh my gosh. So this is not even legal. Like, this is way too much work. Or wait, no, you were a copywriter then, huh? So they could just say do copy, and then they don't give a shit how many hours you work, as long as it's done.
Exactly. But it's a double-edged sword again, because it's like, if you don't have set hours, then it's like they can give you as much work as they want. But again, it's up to you, because you have to take charge and be like, no, I'm doing this amount by this date. That's it. But I was definitely a pushover in the past. So I just did it. But I'm thankful for it, because I didn't know any other way. It taught me incredible work ethic. So by the time I became the head copywriter of that company, it made them millions, because they grew from 0 to 8 figures in 8 months. And I made them a lot. I was basically I did the numbers right after I left, literally less than minimum wage. I think I was making $5.50 an hour.
What? Oh my God. Look at you find the silver lining in this immediately. Oh yeah, that was absolutely horrible. Like, I was eating shit on a daily basis. Oh, by the way, it was a good experience. And I'm like, what? That's not good. But this is why you're so successful, though, is because you see this. You see that type of like opportunity. Like, obviously it's probably a phenomenal opportunity, because you just hit this timeline of what would take people years, that amount of work, that amount of dedicated effort. You just shrank that down, and that's why you are where you're at right now. So what is your lifestyle like now? Like, how do you balance it? I know you kind of go in sprints. So what are you in right now? Are you in a sprint? Are you in
right now I'm in a sprint. So after I left that company, it was actually a good few months of burnout, where literally I would work for half an hour a day. Because if I work more than that, my body would just say collapse. Like, no, like you can't fucking work more than that. Thankfully I had a lifestyle to make 6 figures while doing that. And then once I started to get out of burnout, I went through a lot of therapy, went through a lot of self-reflection, and a lot of other stuff like that. Psychedelics and all this other and healing modalities. And now, and then back then I was literally some months, because I was like, fuck it. I literally took like a month off, and I still made money.
Yeah.
Like, I think I worked 9-10 months of the year in the past 12 months. The rest of it, I just like played video games, hung out with my friends. Went to the beach.
And you actually have friends, which is also key.
Yeah, I do now.
Like, if you want to have like that balance, and it's like it's so easy to get into like that. I don't know, I call it like the Garyvee mentality, where you like, oh, just like make your life miserable, you're gonna love it, and then like do that for like ever. But the thing is, you don't actually have to do that. There's people that are like, I mean, obviously you're 21, you've reached this level of success. If you can do it at 21, you could probably shortcut that process for someone else. If they were to learn what you've done, they don't have to experience exactly what you've experienced in order to get there. They can learn from someone who's already been through it. I mean, that's how you really like catapulted your successes, learning from other people. And obviously your mindset is just phenomenal. Like, after that burnout, the fact that you came back and you're like having the life that you want right now, would you say that you're in a pretty good place now?
Yeah. So right now, I mean, Hannah is helping push me to do more. Because I was enjoying too much of the just fuck around lifestyle. I was like, okay, I want to like really make impact. I want to create more and do more, because that's something I love doing. So right now, let's say the past 2-3 months, I've been working like 2 to 3 hours a day. When we were in Cancun, we worked like 2 to 3 hours a day, took a week off though. Now it's about 4 to 5 hours a day. more recently because I just finished speaking at an event that was hectic. But now
which event was that?
Clients and community event.
They're huge. They're like, okay.
Yeah, they're one of my clients.
Yeah.
So they paid for my hotel. Amazing guys. And so me and Hannah came to the hotel now. So I'm working about 6 to 7 hours, but that's like, because I'm really sprinting. Normally it's closer to 4 to 5.
So do you sprint in terms of, in order to reach like revenue goals that you want to hit for these companies, or is it like for your own personal satisfaction? Because you definitely have something that's inherent or that you've developed over time where you want to get shit done and you just like become that, you get that obsessive nature and you want to like make it happen. Are you doing this for income? Are you doing this for impact? Are you doing this solely for the company? Or why have these sprints? Why not just take it kind of easy all the time? I mean, you have that ability. If you were working half an hour a day before and, you know, you were living comfortably, I mean, if you make 6 figures, like, and I feel like the saying's true, like after like, was it 70 or 80,000, life pretty much, it doesn't change a whole lot in terms like once it's all like covered. But why not slow down? Why not, you know, take it easy forever?
Well, honestly, man, I mean, the thing is, that's what I thought I was going to do. I was like, I'm at a good, you know, good income here. You know, it's not bad. My astrologer told me that, you know, one of the lessons I need to learn in this life is that, you know, I don't need to build anything. So I took that at face value. I take astrology very seriously, unironically. And like, I thought I wanted to do fuck all and just hang out with my friends and have fun, but like something was missing, man.
Yeah, you could feel it. You needed
that.
It's
like you could do that, but why? It's like, why not do the work you love while also getting paid really well, while also having a lot of fun? For me, it's just getting to be able to do this. Like, so you ask why I'm doing this? Because I can. Like if you're a person who you know that you're meant for more than where you're at right now, not in a workaholic way where you're escaping all your shit, because that's actually very common. But when you find some shit you actually enjoy doing and you're good at it and it pays you really well, it's a game, man. It's so fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also want to get into like what do you do like on a daily basis now in order to maintain like your health, your fitness, your relationships? Like what do you have like a set schedule, or what do you do in order to like balance it all?
It's kind of funny because I jokingly prod at other people who are like me, but I know it's like me. I call them artists trying to be business owners, because I feel like I'm very much so an artist. I mean, you know, from my background, playing the trumpet, jazz band, choir, dancing, like everything like that, right?
All the prerequisites to being a phenomenal copywriter, by the way. So if you want to get into copywriting, get into all these arts.
I mean, I don't know about that, but I'm a very like pretty scattered person in terms of like organization and structure. I like to have a rough flow for my day, but it's not usually hard unless it's like, okay, I have deadlines to meet. I'm a very deadline driven person. So that's a key takeaway right there, is to know like yourself. Like, I'm not going to get shit done until the last minute. And I know that about myself. I'm working on it. Like I will, you know, if it takes me, you know, four weeks, hey, all right, client, I'll do this in 4 weeks for you. I will literally crank it out in like 3 hours before the deadline. But in terms of my schedule now, man, I wake up anywhere from 8, 9, 10 o'clock, depends what time we went out that night. Hang out with Hannah for a little bit, maybe like half an hour to an hour, get right to work. Write some, make a couple posts on Facebook, write an email to my list, do some client work for maybe 2-3 hours until about noon, take some sales calls or meetings until 5. That's my day, dude. Simple. Like, I don't have some crazy routine. I used to.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not. It sounds
like it's not necessary. You know, I heard, you know, I've heard other people that would be like, I talked to one person that's just like, you know, I plan like every hour of my day, everything's journaled in order to make sure I have this, I have a like a success coach that I pay like tens of thousands of dollars every single year just to make sure that I'm doing this stuff too. So they'll create like forcing functions like that. So it sounds like your forcing function is creating those deadlines. Do you do anything else to create those like forcing functions in your life so that you're kind of forced to reach that?
That's a great question. Because I'm heavily motivated by fun, and I also know that I'm kind of like a people pleaser at times. So what I have to do is I say, okay, let's say I need to get something done for Wednesday, but I want to get it done for Monday so I can get the client to review it, right? So if I know I want to get done for Monday, I will make plans on Monday night and say, I will not go to this event until this is done. So not only is it encouraging me to actually work hard, because let's be real, man, like if we took away the phones, the video games, the distractions, the fucking Uber Eats, the DoorDash, all that shit, we could get all the stuff that we are doing every day in about 2-3 hours of just
that is so spot on. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So it's like, oh shit, like if I don't get this done by this time tonight, I'm not gonna get it done. And I'm not gonna go to the thing. And I hate canceling on people. I hate missing out on fun. I have the world's worst FOMO, and I'm letting people down. Mm-hmm. That's not cool.
Well, you definitely have the forcing functions kind of, it's working for you. And you definitely like even though if this is your sprint, I don't know what my sprint is. My sprint is like an ultra marathon or something. If that's your sprint, when you're like your day seems amazing already. Especially compared to those 12-hour whatever plus work days that you were doing before.
Dude, man, that shit's the only reason why I got away with that is because I was so young. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, when you get pushed to your limits, you learn that everything else is easy by comparison. It's like the shit, I forget what it is. It's like, I don't know what the quote is, but it's basically, you don't fall to your level of mindset. Basically, you fall in battle, you fall to the level of training, right? Mm-hmm. And I would rather learn that I can work 12 hours a day for 5 years straight, and then know that I have the capacity to do that and write more copy in 1 week than most people write in 3 months, which I basically had to do. Mm-hmm. And it was good copy too. It wasn't just shit. But now when I, have a looming deadline, I know I'm capable of pulling that out of me. Mm-hmm. It's like when people go to the Marines and they get like the shit kicked out of them and they are in a super high performance arena. Mm-hmm. And then they have to go back to civilian life and they're like, fuck, this is so boring.
Yeah.
So my sprint is intentional, because man, there's no sense in burning yourself out once you've achieved a certain level of success. I don't believe you should ever burn yourself out, but I do believe that you should hustle for quite a few years. Like, you got to earn your rest. Not saying to stop sleeping, because that's important, but don't be afraid of hard work, because once you learn how to work hard, then you can learn how to work smart. You can't do work smart, then work hard, because then you're just going to be being lazy and unfulfilled, because you're going to be like, why do I give up every time I get any kind of bump in the road or challenge? Mm-hmm. Especially if you're a smart person, or you did well in school naturally, or things come to you naturally. If you are like that and you stay like that and you don't learn how to get past that, you don't learn how to lose, you don't learn how to get rejected, you're going to grow up being a man-child. That's it.
Yeah. And really, like, in the long haul, like, you have to, like, I feel like that's resonating, and that'll probably resonate with a lot of people listening to this, because like success, like you're saying, is not something that's like given. It's not really that easy, but it's there for people that are willing to put the time, energy, and effort into it. So if someone wanted to basically start like today, and they wanted to like say, they're like, hey man, I want to be Ed. His life seems amazing. And he seems like he can make this type of income and this impact, and he has like fulfillment. What would you say to someone if they wanted to get into copywriting as like a career? And honestly, it doesn't even have to be a career, because this could carry over to any business, because you need it. You can't, there's no business that's good without copywriting. So what would you say to someone that wants to start today with it?
With copywriting specifically, or
Yeah,
just
with
to start with anything?
Yeah, to start with copywriting specifically. Let's start there.
With copywriting specifically, man, I would say just get started learning it. Like, start to get good at it. Great rule of thumb is to read copy, write copy, and handwrite copy every single day. So at minimum, you want to read good old school sales letters, half an hour a day, learn the fundamentals of what worked back then, because the old stuff works really well back then, but it worked because of the principles, not because of the words. So learn to think about why it worked. So if you go to this is even easier. Go to your Facebook profile, start scrolling on your news feed, stop at the first ad that you see and just watch it or look at it and think to yourself, what's one thing that makes this a really good ad? And what's one thing that would make this better? If you do that for half an hour a day, just as a mental exercise, get your brain thinking that way, you don't even have to do the hard shit. Like, that's because that trains your brain to start to look at, okay, why does this work? And why doesn't this work? It's like, okay, even if you're a total noob, you can do this. Yeah. If you see a headline, it's like, oh, it has the word free in it. That's why it does well. Whether there's no right or wrong answer. That's the beautiful thing about this. And that could be very well correct. Because look, oh, people like free stuff, so they're probably going to click. Okay, well, what would you do differently? You know what? This calls out moms specifically, but I think this could do really well if this instead was aimed towards, 8-year-old kids or something like that, like kids, right? Done. There's your exercise. And then just do that 5 times, 10 times for about half an hour a day, just to get you in the mindset of thinking about copy and marketing and persuasion. And eventually you'll start to see patterns. Yeah. And then you go and get clients.
How do you go about getting clients if you're a copywriter? Like okay, you're starting out. Like, let's say that well, really, I mean, you could do it yourself. Like, if you're writing your own copy, you could write your own copy on Instagram, Facebook, wherever it might be, and those are all free platforms. How do you get yourself to get into one of these places? And you could be just starting out. You could be someone that already does this for a living. If you wanted to get in and represent someone, how do you go about showing your value for someone, like that?
It's actually funny that you ask. I'm actually releasing a copywriting program that helps people who are already copywriters, not super new, but people who are newer, get clients. So it's funny you ask.
I literally did not plan this, by the way. This is this could not be more perfect, because I'm deeply interested in it already. So you just tell us more about it right now. So
there's a few things you got to know. One, you have to know who you want to help, right? So who is it? What kind of business is it? Right? And then you want to know, what problems do they have? So what kind of copy could you write for them that they're already using and need more of, right? Because we never want to try and, at least when it comes to this type of work, you don't want to sell people who don't already value what you have. Like, you shouldn't have to tell somebody what copywriting is. You want somebody who's already writing their own emails, writing their own ads, writing their own, Facebook group content, writing their own sales letters, and then basically offer to take it off their hands.
What does that offer look like? Like, if you have it, like if they're emailing, say it's like an email and it comes in and you're like, and you've already been practicing this, the 3 fundamentals that you want to look for. You want it to be like, it needs to sell like that outcome that they want. It's got to have some like emotional resonance. Like, you know these basics, and you've been seeing their emails come in. Do you go in and say, like, this email is kind of shitty? If you were to change this would make it like exponentially better. How do you go about approaching these people?
You can do exactly that. Because the thing that you want to do with these business owners is you want to show them that you know your stuff. So there's a lot of ways to do that. You could really any way to showcase your knowledge, because as long as you can do that, then they will be more inclined to trust you, because people don't want to pay for copy, they want to pay for good copy that makes them money. Right. And who do you trust to make you money? An expert, right? So if you can show them that you know more than them, and I'll tell you something, these business owners, they don't know that much about marketing at all.
Yeah. A lot of them will, they'll get business and they're like, whoa, where did this come from? And then there's like, and then they're just getting it out of like sheer like volume of like lucky break that happened, or they put a piece of copy out there that transitions into lots of clients early on, but doesn't later on. So showing you're an expert is one, reaching out to them and adding value is another. Do you have any other tips for someone that wants to get in the door?
Sometimes it's better to just get your foot in the door with a lower price, especially if it's your first client. Like there's going to be a point in time when you're going to be like, you know what? I don't really know who I want to help or what I want, what kind of copy I want to write. So at that point, don't be picky. You know, beggars aren't choosers. Just like there was a point in time where I was like, I will write anything that you want me to for $500.
Yeah.
I got 5 people to sign up for that in like less than a month. As like a newbie copywriter, I was like 16.
So you got like what, $2,500 at 16 because you just put yourself out there. So I mean, that's perfect. So like obviously copywriting can be a very lucrative career, but honestly, like anyone listening to this, you should know that copy and copywriting, copy being like the written form of sales that we're talking about, and actually like sales letters and things like that. It doesn't mean like getting an envelope or getting like, you don't have to say act now and get whatever. It doesn't have to be like salesy kind of things.
Yeah.
But writing good copy, a lot of times people don't even realize that they're reading it because it resonates with them on such a deep level that that's what gets them to even want to book a call with you, to even like be interested in your offer, your service, whatever it might be. So like these principles that you've taught, I think are going to be like invaluable to everyone that could get into copywriting. And you do have, is this a for sure thing that you have for your newbie copywriters or current copywriters? What does this offer?
It's for people who already have a decent level of copywriting expertise. Like they've been doing this for a little bit. They have to have at least landed one client. Like I don't give a shit if they got paid $1 one time, because it's a different mindset. Because if you can get paid by a client once, you can do it again. But that first client's always the hardest. And I want to take people who have already, broke the 4-minute mile for themselves and already have a client, or have had at least one. I don't give a shit if it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And also somebody who is either they have a job right now that's well paying, because I want to work with somebody who has the work ethic to do the thing. It takes about 2 hours a day to get the clients, and then maybe 2 or 3 hours a day to fulfill on it. So yeah, it's not for everybody, that's for sure. Because it's, again, like we talked about earlier, like you get what you pay for. You want to invest in the best that you can. And I don't want to work with people who aren't able to find the resources to invest in themselves.
Yeah. And I feel like anyone that's listening to this, obviously they know that you have the right mindset. You're even have a hard time bragging about yourself. So I have to like pull it out of you, that like everything that you've accomplished. But honestly, it's just, it all goes back into this. Like we've talked about, I don't know how many different like trials, tribulations that you've had, like setbacks, and like you've learned all these things. The reason you can give good advice for like these copywriters and people to be successful is because you've gone through the bad times and you saw the silver lining in it, but that will allow people to shortcut the whole process. So if someone wanted to get really good at copywriting, obviously they'd want to go to like you, because you've already done it. You've been good, but that's if they resonate with you as a person. And they'll resonate with you as a person if you're putting out the right copy. And like, I can't emphasize this enough. Everyone needs to be good at this, just because it's the lifeblood of any business. You can't have a business and not have, and people don't know you. Like it just won't exist. So that being said, I feel like I got a lot out of this, and I thought it was great getting to know you more as a person. Is where can people find you if they want to either learn more about your program or they want to just connect with you on social media?
For sure. So you can get me on Facebook at Reay, EDREAY. Last name is pronounced Ray, like Stingray. And you find me on Instagram at ed.reay. Those are the two best places to find me. You can go to edray.com, edreay.com. At the time of you listening to this, no idea what's going to be there. It could be a website, it could be something weird. Who knows?
Might redirect you to your Facebook page because there's nothing there.
Yeah, maybe.
You never know. Might go to an offer. Who knows? We'll see.
Who knows? Just try your luck. It's like the lottery. So yeah, that's it. Facebook,
right.
Instagram, website.
Yes, and before we go, I honestly want to sincerely thank you for doing this. This has been awesome. It's really cool learning from people that, you know, like you said that you want to learn from people where you'd want to trade places with them. I barely know you, and I want to be you. It's like you, like what you're doing. I think it's just because you're so genuine with your message, and it's so obvious that you want the best for people that it is like, well, it's like a no-brainer. And I feel like the advice that you've given me lets me believe that I'm also on the right path to be more successful in my life. So, I mean, I have literally like a page of notes here that I've written down. This is for myself. I could put them in the show notes too. But is there anything else that you want to tell the audience before we go?
Well, first of all, thank you. I appreciate the kind words.
Yeah.
I do want everybody to win. I think that there's room for everybody to win at the highest level possible. Success and money is not a zero-sum game. If someone pays you $5K, you're not taking that money from them. You know, you're giving them an opportunity to have a problem solved for them, which is worth even more than $5K, which actually, the more money that you get paid, the more money and value you create in the world, I believe. So that's one thing to note. Don't be afraid to work for success. Don't be afraid of rejection. Don't be afraid of feeling like you're less than. Just pick something you want to do and go do it. And if you don't know what you want to do, pick a direction and go for it. You don't have to know exactly what you want to do, where you want to end up 5 years from now. This shit can seem scary. Just pick something as your northern star that will just guide you in that direction. Try it as hard as you can. Just go hard for the next 90 days, even 6 months, if you want to go that hard. Try it out. The worst thing you could do is go back to where you are right now. You know, I mean, you're not going to go broke by trying something new. And I just know that for me personally, I don't want to look back at my life and regret anything. I don't want to look back and wonder what if. You know, what if I took that chance? What if I talked to that girl? What if I said yes to the opportunity? There's a great quote from Richard Branson, I think it is, which is like, say yes and figure out how to do it along the way. Entrepreneurship, best described. I love this. It's like jumping off a cliff and building an airplane on the way down. Take the leap, take the jump. You'll make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like that's spot on. And that's also ties in perfectly with what you're talking about, those forcing functions. If you go out and you have that deadline, like if you say you want to be a professional copywriter, you want to do what a professional like fitness coaching like I do, or you want to do anything where it requires like dedication and effort and work. If you have that forcing function where you go all in, your chances of success also go up on that. I mean, obviously you put the time, energy, you're willing to make the sacrifice in order to make it work, but that's why you are where you are and you have the right mindsets for it. So thank you so much for being here, and I will upload this whenever. All right. See you guys.